Thank you. Dr. Yogendra Narayan, Chairperson of the Organizing Committee of the Global Counter-Terrorism Center, colleagues past and present from the three services, members of the scientific community, delegates from the world of business, academia, and startups, our valuable partners in our quest for Atmanirbharta in defense, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to start by expressing my sincere thanks to the Global Counter-Terrorism Council, particularly to Dr. Kamal Simbal for extending this invite and giving me an opportunity to share my views with this learned and distinguished audience on a very topical issue that centers around artificial intelligence. It is a domain of great consequence to India's strategic military posture and futures, as also one that the Indian Army is actively engaging in. We are slowly recovering from a devastating second wave of the pandemic. Organizing such a conference during these challenging times requires far greater effort and coordination than in the normal course. Even as we brace ourselves for the changes brought about by the pandemic, we cannot discount contemporary threats and ongoing challenges that continue to confront us, perhaps further exacerbated by the pandemic. For one, the conference brings back our focus to these issues of equal import. I wish to compliment the organizers for their hard work. The developments along our northern borders during the past year are a stark reminder that in order to preserve our territorial integrity, the armed forces need to continually prepare and adapt to the exigencies of modern wars. It is in the backdrop of this contemporary security environment that I approach today's topic, that is the application of big data analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. In 1921, General Douhet, regarded as the father of strategic air power, had stated, and I quote, "Victory will smile upon those who anticipate changes in the character of war, and not upon those who wait to adapt themselves after changes occur." These words spoken a century back hold true now more than they ever did in the past. History tells us that those who are first to harness once in a generation kind of technology often have a decisive edge on the battlefield for years to come. There have been many instances when inventions powered by novel technologies have not only altered the rules of the game, but changed the very game itself. Whether it was the invention of gunpowder in the 9th century or the appearance of the machine gun in the 19th century, war fighting underwent radical changes. Then, of course, there have been technologies that have provided a decisive edge to those who possess them. During the Second World War, the invention of the radar had a dramatic impact in the defense of the UK during the Battle of Britain. Similarly, sonar in the conduct of anti-submarine warfare in the North Atlantic. During the Cold War, emerging computer technology, electronic component technology, and propulsion technology each had a significant impact on the evolution of Cold War military capabilities. The impact of technologies on strategic military affairs in recent times has been profoundly disruptive. There was a time when doctrines spawned technologies. Today, technologies are driving doctrinal operational cycles like never before. The US military in Afghanistan in 2007-2008 had just 2 predators, one armed and one unarmed, and about 400 human sources. That's a ratio of 2:400. Today, the reality is possibly the other way around. Niche technologies, including artificial intelligence, autonomous unmanned systems, long-range precision technology, quantum computing, to name a few, have become veritable tools of deterrence and compellence. At its core, artificial intelligence, or AI, consists of a computer program that is capable of executing decisions in a faster, more intelligent manner than a human, based on a defined set of parameters and a clear objective. When you integrate this capability with other technologies and platforms, it has the potential to radically alter who has the advantage on the battlefield. Just imagine a situation where a computer system is able to download in real time footage from a remotely piloted vehicle and quickly and efficiently scan the video with the help of some deep learning software, which helps it to think like a human being. It does not stop there. The system's computer vision will then on its own identify potential targets, be it personal, vehicles, or buildings. Well, some of us may think that it finishes here. Actually, it does not. The system autonomously collects items of interest for further analysis on its own for subsequent targeting or intelligence gathering purposes. AI presents huge military opportunities with its associated challenges in the realm of national security. AI has the potential for revolutionary impact on operations and capability. Its application has far-reaching implications for military concepts and organizational structures. Talking of AI today would actually mean both AI and machine learning. The former actually uses the latter to solve problems. And what fuels both these technologies is the vast amounts of data for which data analytics comes into play. Given the vastness of this subject, I will only focus my talk on the military applications of AI without any military specific or technical jargon. Let me give some of the recent examples of AI-enabled systems which are being talked about. The imaginative and offensive use of drones riding on AI algorithms, first in Idlib and then in Armenia, Azerbaijan, have challenged the traditional military hardware of war, the tanks, the artillery, and the dug-in infantry. More recently, the Israel Defense Forces have hailed the just concluded 11-day conflict with Hamas as the first artificial intelligence war. Whether it was the famed Iron Dome, neutralizing incoming rockets to great effect, or the targeting of Hamas locations in the Gaza Strip, Israel has credited its success to the accomplishments in the field of AI. If recent reports are to be believed, analysis of mountains of raw data through the powers of supercomputing and complex algorithms helped Israel in carrying out precision strikes and shortening the duration of war. AI is thus becoming a critical part of modern warfare. Compared to conventional systems, military systems equipped with AI are capable of handling far larger volumes of data more efficiently. The ability to process information at machine speeds while obviating intangible but hugely significant aspects like soldier fatigue and differential information processing capabilities as the men behind the conventional systems change, make AI-enabled systems a huge asset to possess. Its employment is especially significant in a combat scenario where data availability is high, decision periods are short, and decision effectiveness is an absolute necessity. Also, the objective is to have the real-time view of the battlefield and have a seamless flow of information across the command chain. Such systems have improved self-control, self-regulation, and self-actuation due to superior computing and decision-making capabilities. Artificial intelligence is today the modern holy grail of technology, with far-reaching implications on the nature of geopolitics and geostrategics. By way of impact and influence, it will exceed the Industrial Revolution by several orders of magnitude. Broadly speaking, I think we can classify AI systems into three types, namely artificial narrow intelligence, which has, of course, as the name suggests, a narrow range of abilities. These systems are goal-oriented and designed to perform singular tasks. Most applications currently in vogue in various armies fall into this category. Then there is a second category, that is artificial general intelligence, which is at par with human capabilities. It is a concept where machines have the ability to learn and apply intelligence to solve problems like human beings. And then there is the third category, artificial superintelligence, which is more capable than a human. It is a concept where machines become self-aware and surpass the capabilities of humans. As you see, the classification is a combination of real and hypothetical systems. I would look more closely at the first category, which is a reality and is already changing the way we fight. So what then are the military applications of AI in the Indian context? We are looking at a whole range of applications that include surveillance, logistics, cyberspace operations, info ops, and most importantly, military training and combat operations, including decision making. Let me share a few thoughts on these different domains. AI applications have the potential to revolutionize training and education in the Indian Army. A soldier is a key factor in combat readiness, which is directly linked to training. With increased integration of predictive analytics and machine learning algorithms, virtual reality and augmented reality systems will further help in creating a perfect synthetic replica of the actual combat environment. Additional realism will be built in with the use of biometric sensors, which will gather data about cognitive and emotional responses of soldiers under stress and provide real-time feedback to trainers and trainees about the actual effectiveness of the training being conducted, including the need to focus on some specific shortcomings. This does not mean, of course, that the traditional methods of classroom or hands-on teaching are no more going to be important. It is just that the time we spend in the army to train our soldiers and officers can reduce drastically. Imagine the associated cost savings involved and the efficiency that will drive in greater combat lethality and performance through better trained soldiers at a fraction of a cost. Simulated war games would cut down on logistics costs. AI systems would be the enablers for the forces to operate in the future multi-domain operations, where AI-infused autonomous weapon systems would become force multipliers in future wars and be the fulcrum around which big data will be turned into actionable intelligence and a decision advantage. The possibilities are actually immense in all fields. In the field of HR management, analyzing the exit pattern of our soldiers and officers would provide us with the required numbers to recruit not only next year, but over an extended period. Predictive analysis in the field of logistics would offer new insights into planning and preparing for future contingencies. In the field of medicine, a large number of initiatives are already underway at the national level. The pandemic has only given added impetus to these efforts. So as far as the army is concerned, where are we? and what are we doing about it? Well, the Indian Army is seized of the need to exploit the immense capabilities and powers of AI. Based on the recommendations of the National Task Force 2018, the Indian Army has also streamlined the proliferation and implementation of its AI-driven plans and schemes. We have identified some select AI technologies and are processing them based on domain specializations within the organization. A robust partnership with the civil industry and academia is also being developed. Some of you may recollect the demonstration of a mature swarming capability of 75 drones during the Army Day Parade at New Delhi in January this year. This display of pre-programmed drones destroying a variety of simulated targets is reflective of our seriousness and focus on this emerging technology. Much work is underway in this direction to operationalize the capability in different terrains at varying altitudes and over extended ranges. A data governance policy to streamline the flow of data for usage in various AI applications and creation of a center of excellence for artificial intelligence at the MCT MAU, along with an AI lab, are some of the initiatives already undertaken by us. However, a word of caution here. While we pursue a quest for niche technologies, including AI, it would be prudent to remember that future wars will also involve low technology, which is easy to obtain but difficult to defeat. Since World War II, high-tech militaries have been thwarted consistently by low-tech opponents. Therefore, there is a need to maintain a balance while infusing technology into our inventory and doctrines. The induction of modern technologies would also need to be seen in the context of our active borders and the peculiarities of the LC and the LAC, and the mandate to ensure territorial integrity. While greater integration of artificial intelligence and better computing power will undoubtedly augment human effort and also free up resources, there are areas where this will not work or will have negligible impact. In such places, only physical presence on ground will meet the requirement. Considering these peculiarities of our unsettled land borders, we would need to adopt a mix and match option. That is, to evolve into a technology-oriented army while retaining boots on ground as an operational imperative. While AI offers immense possibilities, it also has its own challenges. Let me briefly talk about some of these challenges that we are already facing and which are likely to come our way as we move ahead. The first and foremost is the issue of managing change, of changing mindsets. You'd have so often heard Little Heart's famous quote, "The only thing harder than getting a new idea into the military mind is to get the old one out." The urgency to embrace this change will only come with the realization and understanding of the changed character of modern warfare. The leadership needs to fully comprehend the nuances of modern technology. Technical and infrastructure requirements would need to be addressed in a time-bound manner. For example, data management is a big issue. Eventually, we would need to migrate to a cloud-based system to manage the enormous amounts of data. Issues of security and secrecy would also need to be resolved. We would also need our own captive servers. Developing the required infrastructure would, of course, require a dedicated budget. In order to transmit this huge volume of data, there would be the need for a robust network with high speeds, and that too integrated across the three services. All this would require simplified procedures that facilitate this transition. Unfortunately, this has been one of our biggest stumbling blocks. The transition to digital age is contrarian to DPP and DPM mindsets. In order to harness niche technologies like AI, exploit our depth in IT, and realize the vision of our Atmanirbhar Bharat, we need to shed old mindsets and make our procedures more flexible and adaptive. There are also some ethical issues to be considered. Last but not the least, these emerging military technologies have also raised an array of ethical considerations that could produce unintended consequences if they fail to perform as anticipated. These consequences would range from system failure to violations of the law of armed conflict. Human rights groups warn of a robotics arms race without regard for international law. One of the major issues that arises is how to describe the degree of human involvement in such situations. Human-machine relationships of this nature have been classified into three broad categories: human in the loop, human on the loop, and human out of the loop, or alternatively, semi-autonomous, supervised autonomous, and fully autonomous. The loop to which this refers is, of course, the observe, orient, decide, and act, commonly known as the OODA loop. It is a decision to engage part of this process that is so critical, since it concerns the use of force to kill human beings. If human operators are out of the loop and do not have the ability to intervene in the engagement, then the weapon would be fully autonomous. There are significant legal and moral implications of this, as the system carries the risk of making dangerous errors. There are serious reservations about the use of AI-powered robots in war or even for peacetime security. These anxieties are often captured in science fiction films. For example, there are genuine concerns about the prospects of killer robots running amok without control, or facial recognition systems mistakenly identifying innocent people as terrorist targets. Whether or not these expressions accurately depict the future, they do form part of public discussions. But fiction apart, even technological experts differ in what should be the limit of autonomy to these systems and what are the attendant risks that they carry. Would the AI system be capable of upholding the principles of humanity and the dictates of public conscience? Would these systems be capable of distinguish between combatants and non-combatants, especially in an urban setting? Would the machines be able to factor in context, identify emotions, and assess subtle body language before pressing the trigger? The concerns on distinction and proportionality cannot be brushed away. These are some of the issues that require much more deliberation. I would conclude by saying that with each generation comes new technology that fundamentally alters the way we think. If a nation is to prevail in the frontier research and strategic competition that devolves around artificial intelligence, it will have to be a national endeavor in mission mode. So central is technology to this geostrategic calculus of modern nation states that technology development is now a whole of nation exercise with huge investments in comprehensive civil military fusion, in bringing together the collective skills of scientists, soldiers, technologists, young entrepreneurs, corporates, interns, dreamers, and startups. To sum up, we need AI to fight and win our wars. I would once again like to compliment the GCTC for providing a platform for all our stakeholders to ideate as to how we can make the cultivation of AI proficiencies not only in defense, but across all domains of national endeavor. Thank you and Jai Hind.